So hello and welcome to the Computer Labs YouTube channel, and in this video I'm going to be looking at the Unifi Protect G3 Flex ceiling mount kit. Also at the end of the video I'm going to be looking at the different mounting options that come as standard with the camera. So if that's something you're interested in, please do carry on watching. Okay, so let's get started. So those people watching this that are in the know and are aware of Ubiquiti and Unifi and the sort of Protect and video range will know that they offer a range of cameras. And this is stuff like the standard bullet cameras, the dome cameras, and they also offer this this UVC-G3 Flex camera, which is sort of an oblong shape, barrel shape type of thing. That can sit and be surface mounted, but it doesn't flush mount very easily because you can see it sits quite proud of the actual, depending on what you're mounting it to, of the fascia or the board that you're mounting it to. So you can get this ceiling mount kit that allows the camera to recess into the fascia or the wherever you're mounting it and trying to hide it in a ceiling or something like that. So it is quite a good kit, and it does look nice when it's installed, and I will be doing another video that shows this actually in the real world installed in a house. But this video is just about the kit, what it allows you to do, how you mount it, and how it secures once you have it in position. I'm also at the end of the video going to look at the standard mounting kit that you get included with the camera. So that's excluding the ceiling mount kit, just the standard mounting options, and show you what to look out for when you're mounting this camera in. Just so you can give you a heads up if you're doing this project for the first time and you're ordering this stuff in. It's just so you can get a feel and know what the bracket's going to do. Okay, so let's get on to the video. So like I said earlier, I'm going to be using the Unifi UVC G3 Flex that I'm holding up to the camera now. So it's a nice little unit, quite solid. And again, if you've not used Unifi stuff before, this is a really quite well built camera. Has all the range you'd expect. And the ceiling mount allows that to give it a low profile installation. So it's hidden when you install it. Not hidden as such, you can still see it, but it's not as predominant as maybe, you know, a big bullet camera mounted on your house or business. So the kit itself, this is what you get it in. You get it in this black pre-molded plastic. I've just made a bit of a bracket up so I can show you it being installed, which is the wooden thing behind it. Nothing too fancy, just knocked it up out of a bit of plywood, just so you can see it when it goes in. And if you are installing these cameras, then you are going to need something to record to. I'm not really touching on this, but this is the Cloud Key Gen 2 Plus that's going to work with these cameras. Like I said, the video is about the ceiling mount kit and the UVC G3 Flex. But just for clarity, it's worth noting that obviously you will need something to record to if you're looking at this installation for your house. There's quite a few bits of kit that are needed to make up the video recorder. Okay, so let's have a look at what you get in the ceiling mount kit itself. So you can see there's a little QR code that you get, and if you hold your phone up to the QR code, if I can just get one to scan, as you'll see on this video here. So there you go, it scans the QR code, and this is something that Unifi Ubiquiti have been doing quite a few of their products now. They'll offer the QR code up, and when you scan it with your phone, it will then ask you if you want to open it in Safari or Google Chrome or whatever it is on your phone, and it shows you all the product information, the installation kit, what you get in the box, and how to install it. So it's a nice little touch. It's something, obviously, if you're not familiar with the product, it's a nice way of just finding out how to install the particular product that you're looking at. That way you can't lose the actual paperwork. So if we just get the camera to focus here, I'll just show you what you get. So obviously I've got the actual mount out of the holder, the black plastic holder, and this is the mount in my hand. You get the little bag of screws. I'll just put them to one side, and this is the actual ceiling mount itself, the Unifi ceiling mount for the G3 Flex, and it has the lock ring on the back. You can see there with the thread. Well, it's not really a thread as such, it's just surrogated sort of thing. As you move it up and down, and it clamps onto the different thickness wood. You don't necessarily need to use the actual the back ring that I'm sliding up and down now. You can actually use it without. So if you're mounting these blind into a fascia, so you can't get access to the top, you can actually screw the bit in my right hand, which I'll just indicate with the arrow there. You can actually screw that directly in to the actual fascia or the ceiling mount. As you pop it in, you can screw through the top, and then there's a magnetic clip that goes on the outside of that. Like I say, I will mount these up so you can see them mounted, and the one in my left hand now that I'm just going to offer the top, obviously that will sit sort of on the blind side of the mount, so you wouldn't normally be able to see that. But if you don't have access to it, I've done these before, and this particular installation that I'm working on at the moment, I haven't got access to the top of the fascias, so I won't be actually using this ring that I've got in my hands at the moment. You can see as you mount it, one bit stays fixed, so that means you can rotate the camera. So it is a sort of a slightly better installation with that ring on, because you don't have to set the camera up, although you've got some range of movements when you get the camera in. You don't have to set it up as well, sort of thing, when you first offer it up into your hole that you've drilled. So you see that's the little magnetic cover, and that just clips on the top once you get the actual ceiling mount in. Again, like I said, I'll show the close-up in a second when I get it on, but you can see the 4 magnets. There's 4 little bits of steel and there's a steel plate on the actual bit I'm just opening up now. So that's the lock ring. So there's a steel plate on the back of that, and the magnets are on the left-hand side bit there. So once you put your camera in, you pop that on the top like so, and then you'd lock that into position, and it clicks the camera in. So I'm just going to show you what size drill to use when you're obviously drilling yours into your fascia or your office tile or whatever it is you're mounting this in. Like I said, I just knocked this up just so for the video purposes, but the hole size is a 2 1/4 inch, or if you are European or you're using metric, it is 57 millimeters. So you'll need a hole saw of that dimension, and once you drill the hole in, obviously I'll just show you it going through here. You'll be doing this on site or in an office or something like that, or in your house if you mount it in your house. And you see how the clip goes onto the back. Like I will show this in detail, but you can see how it's all spinning there, but you can see how it actually mounts into the hole. So it's 57 mil or 2 1/4 inch hole saw that you will need. And this does allow a bit of wiggle room when you get the actual mount, the ceiling mount bracket in. So if you've got a hole saw that's, you know, around the 55 mark, you might get away with it. I think they say do the actual hole that size just to give you a bit of room to play, so you're not forcing anything. But it does allow a bit of, like I say, wiggle room for the actual ceiling mount to go into the actual board or ceiling tile that you mount it into. Okay, so if you're not familiar with the actual camera itself, this is the G3 Flex, made by Ubiquiti, part of their Unifi range. It's the UVC G3 Flex, and you can see you can mount this in the actual box itself. You do get, I'll show you the different mounting kits you get in the box, which allows you to mount it in different orientations. And in the box, you get some little cards that show you how to mount it. I'll just quickly touch on these actually, just so if you're doing this from scratch, you know what you can get. Now they are showing Ubiquiti, or the Unifi cards are showing that you can get these skins that you can change the colour of the camera. Now, currently they're not selling these, and it is February 2020 at the moment, and they've been talking about doing these skins that you can get for the camera for a while now, so hopefully they will release them at some point, or some third party might release that if they sell enough of these cameras. So just flicking through these cards, like I said, I will just quickly touch on these different mounting options. These brackets actually come in the box with the camera, and the different options are to mount it onto sort of a back wall with the bracket provided. You could screw it through, mount it sort of so it's in that position. But you can see if you're mounting it with the bracket in that orientation, then the camera does stick out quite a lot without this flush mount ceiling mount, which just allows the camera to sit through. You also get a little pole mount clip, so you can see the cards here if you just hold them individually. You can see the different options you get with the kits that are included. So the camera and the mounting options are quite versatile out of the box before you buy any of the accessories. So this is the accessory card, obviously, that I'm showing you now, with the surface mount being shown there. So yeah, lots of different options really with the actual camera and standard mounting configuration. Obviously, if you wanted to hide it, then that is what this video is about, and using the ceiling mount for this particular UVC G3 Flex camera. So you can see the different brackets I've got in my hand now, and these were shown on the cards that I've just been showing you. And obviously you get the screws in there, again with the stainless screws and the plugs. And just a quick note there, it's worth noting that the stainless screws are soft, but that's just generally the thing across the board with any stainless screw. It's usually softer than a normal screw, so just be careful when you're screwing them things in, otherwise you'll be destroying the heads and then searching around for a screw of the same size. So we'll get things organized here, and we'll just show you the different kits. So I'll just lay it out as you can see it. So this is the actual camera itself. Again, if you're not familiar with it, it comes with the little pop in the end of it here, which is the little bracket in the end. I'm just spinning the actual camera there. You can see how it rotates around the point. around the top mounting point, and this bit pops out so you can put the different brackets in. So if I can just get it out, I'm just trying to hold it to camera while I get this, wiggle it out. But there's an RJ45 under here, and this is how the actual other brackets mount on to the actual camera itself. Okay, so let's get the other camera view on, and we will start to build up the actual surface mount bracket and show it how it installs once you've got your hole drilled into your fascia. So you can see if you've got access to the top of the, your surface tile if you're in an office, or your fascia if you're doing a house, you could actually, if you've got access to the top, you can use the actual clamp ring around the top. And then once you have it positioned, you can then screw it from the screws from the sort of upwards into the fascia, and then put your magnetic ring, lock ring on. So if I just freeze the video as I offer it up to the camera here, there's two screw holes there indicated with the arrows. There's a little screw that goes through there and holds the actual camera into the actual surface mount bracket. So yeah, I mean, that comes in the bag. So once you click it in position now, you would screw that in to the actual top. If you was mounting it blind, obviously if you've got access to the actual top of the actual surface mount, or access into the top of your fascia, then you can put the screw in afterwards. But like I'm showing now, if you put that into your fascia and you haven't got access to this top ring, then you'll almost certainly have to put the screw in before you push it up. You line up the actual back slot I was just indicating with my finger, push it onto the actual the bottom mount as it would be, and it just clicks into position on them little surrogated teeth on the side, and they just click in and out. So that's only good, like I say, if you've got access to the top. And then if you're working from the underside, if I just switch the cameras around, as you can see, if you're working from the underside, then you push the actual camera into the actual surface mount bracket, and then you have the lock ring. So I'll just zoom back out that camera so you can see this is the lock ring that slides in and out. Again, it's quite well made. You can be it's not a soft bit of plastic or anything like that, and it has the little magnetic ring on. So once you offer it up, you can then click that into position. So you slide the actual lock ring to one side, check the metal's lined up, and it just snaps into position. And once you've got it in position, I'm just trying to do it so I'm not getting in the camera's view, and then you just push the lock ring and it locks it in place. And then once it's in position, you can adjust it, get the live view on your phone or tablet, or however you're viewing the camera in the Unifi Protect app, and then adjust it so you can change the view. I'll just put the light on just so you can see the camera a little bit better from this side. So you can see the camera there where I'm just adjusting the angle. So what I'll do at this point, I will just disassemble it, the surface mount back, disassemble it so you can see the actual build, because it's important to note that if you're doing this live and you haven't got access to the actual top of the fascia, like I said earlier, if you're in an office environment where you're just sticking it on a ceiling mount, sort of tile, the ceiling tiles, you get them polystyrene tiles, it'd be easy enough because you've probably got access to the top of the camera. So I'm just going to go in reverse and just show you what to expect if you're doing this in a house, because you've probably not got access to the top of the fascia, the blind side of this. So I'll do it a couple of ways. So I'll just take these out. But the top and bottom of it is you need to have your cable through that top locking ring. So if you've got a Cat 5 or Cat 6, you have that pass through that top locking ring so you have access to it. And then you push the bottom shaft for the camera into that top locking ring. Click it in position. So you see how to have both hands around it. Make sure you've got your cable loose. And then that would have to go into your camera. So you can see the RJ45 mount there. That's where it goes. And this black cable I put in purposely because you'll see as I put this in, it's got a sort of the boot on it, and it gets in the way of the surface mount. So this is again to give you a heads up before you install these things. And you can see you can't get the actual camera in with this type of pre-terminated cable that has the snagless boot or the boot on the back end to stop you snagging it. And I'm almost certain if I forced it, I could probably get it in, but you can see it was just too hard to get in. So the best way to do this is to make your own cables up. And again, if you're a seasoned installer or if you're a network guy, putting Cat 5, Cat 6 cable on this, you do this all day. So you're better off one without a boot. This is just one I'd lying around, an old Cat 5e, I think, with no boot on the back of it, just the RJ45 connector. So you can see straight away that goes in, and there's plenty of room on that because it's not got the actual protector on the back of the cable. So you can just bend it out of the way, and then it should just click in nicely like so. So again, that's just a heads up before you go looking at doing this kit or putting the cables in before you're installing. That's just a nice little tip for you what to do. I mean, you'll probably be using loose cables anyway, making your own ends up anyway, but it's just good to know just in case you're doing this and you're buying the cables in. Okay, so what we'll do next, we'll just disassemble the actual lock ring mounting bracket off the back. So I'm just going to pull the magnetic cover off the underside mount. Just put that to one side, just pull the camera out. I'm going to take the lock ring off, and then I'm going to show you about how to install it without the lock ring on the top. So this is quite the common, probably the most common installation if you're doing it in a house, not in an office, but in a house almost certainly. Probably doing it, especially as a retrofit, you'll need to use these screws that I'm pointing out here. So these are important because if you're doing, like I say, on the in a house fascia, you drill the hole, your 57mm hole in the actual fascia, then you would offer the actual the shaft to mount the actual bracket in up to the fascia, and then you'll have to screw these 3 screws in to secure it into position. One thing to note here, there is 2 arrows on the bracket I've got in my hand, so not the surface mount one that I've just lifted up, but the one I'm holding in. There is a couple of arrows that point in the direction which the camera is facing. So that, why is this important? Because if you want to adjust it, you've only got so much range from left to right, so you need to make sure you get this in the right position when you're mounting it in. Because obviously if you had the top locking ring on the top, then you'll be able to spin it. But because we haven't got that option, that's to one side, we can only screw it in. So what you do is, let me just pull the camera back out and show you. Yeah, so if you've got that lock ring in, and I'll just put it and lock it into position, with that in, you can actually spin it, and the actual bracket itself will move around as well a bit in there. Once you've got the camera in position, you've got a bit more range to actually move the camera while it's got that top lock ring on. Obviously, because we're not doing it with the top lock ring and you're just mounting it blind, then you haven't got that range. Okay. So like I said at the beginning of the video, I did say I would touch on the couple of different options you get in the box without buying the surface mount kit. So you can mount this using the brackets provided. I'm going to show you the 2 different ones. This one's the hard ceiling mount, and if you was mounting this to your ceiling and not bothered about having the camera slightly hidden or 50% hidden, then you can mount this bracket. So I've just whipped a hole through the actual top board on what would be your fascia or ceiling tile. Obviously just pass the Cat 5e cable through like we was showing earlier, tighten the screws up, and then make sure it's all secure, and then obviously click your 5e into the actual camera itself, and you can see the little lugs sitting off the hard ceiling mount. Like I said earlier, you do get these in the box, so these are all provided as, I was going to say for free, but you're paying for it with the camera, so they are provided with the camera. Once you've got your RJ45 in, it just clicks in to position like so. And that's it mounted there. It doesn't really click in as such. It pushes in firmly, but it's not a nicer and secure mount as using the surface flush mount. So it does go on, but you can see you can pull it off. In an office environment, I don't suppose that'll be too bad if it's sat in the corner, out the way. But it's not massively secure. You do have a little screw in the back. I suppose you can secure it, but I do prefer the flush mount. This one's the pole mount and also the back wall mount. So you get a tie wrap in there, so if you put it onto a pole, you would strap it around your pole, and then if I can just get my hand out of the way of the camera, and then you would obviously tie wrap it around your pole or whatever you're attaching it to, so it can be sort of temporary done onto something like that, and then you put the bracket in like so. Again, these are provided, and then that would slide on to the back of the camera once you've got your cables in. So if I show that clicks in there, and then that goes over the top, and then you can strap that to the pole, and that's your Unifi sort of pole mount. You can wall mount these as well using the same bracket. So if I just put that there, get the camera out of the way, I've just screwed it on off camera because obviously you don't want to see me screwing it onto the wall, but you can see how that builds up. So that screws onto the wall. You put your RJ45 into the back of the camera, and if I can get the cable in, sorry, my hands are in the way. Well, I can just get the cable the right way around. Once it's clicked in, there you can see it clicked in on the RJ45 just about. So this is the better view. The other camera was covered by my other hand. So yeah, so then the actual bottom mounting clicks onto the bottom of the camera, and then you can slide it onto the wall mount stroke pole mount like so, with your cable obviously coming out the back of the camera, going into your PoE switch or whatever it be. Okay, so that's the end of the video. One thing I'd like to add, this video is not sponsored by Unifi in any way or Ubiquiti in any way. It's all been purchased for jobs, and I just thought I'd put this video together to help people understand and install this particular product. So if I do get round to it, if there's any links at the bottom of this video, they will be affiliate links, and all that does is give me a small kickback to the channel to help produce these videos. If you did enjoy the video, please do hit subscribe, please do give us a thumbs up and like, and please do hit me up with any comments below if there's anything you'd like to hear from me or see from me. Thanks again for watching the Computer Lab on YouTube.